Hey Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Welcome to 5 things we learned from round 5, GWS Giants, Manuka Oval. We lose by a point, 80 to 79 I think it was, a very late run. It felt like the whole game we were not in it, but we almost snatched it. So these are the 5 things I learned. Number 1, we deviate from our game plan too often. There's too many, not the whole game, but there's too many chunks of games where either because we're under immense pressure, we panic, or we take the opposition lightly, or we overcomplicate things, we overthink things, and I think we did a lot of that yesterday. We just don't play the Saints footy that we know we've trained for, and that's held us in good stead for the last 18 months. That got us to finals last year. When we start playing that football, like we did late in the game yesterday, you can see the results, you can see that it works. And you just hope that that kind of clicks in the player's mind, that that's the sort of approach we need to be bringing every week. It's very reliant on pressure, but it's also very reliant on getting the ball inside 50 aggressively and taking your chances. We didn't do that for 3 quarters yesterday, and that meant that we were down by 6 goals. We started doing that, and lo and behold, we hit the scoreboard, we put some pressure on the Giants, and they start panicking. That we grow in confidence there and take over the final quarter, almost to the point where we win the game that we probably didn't deserve to win. But we can't do that every week. We need to stick to our guns, back ourselves in, and go for it. Number 2, Jack Steele is back to his all-Australian form. He was absolutely phenomenal yesterday. He had a very big task on him because he's taken up the likes, of Tom Green in the midfield there, and he's a gun in his own right. So Jack Steele knew what he needed to do. He knew the assignment, and I thought he had a huge captain's game yesterday. And to be honest, he's been doing that for the majority of the season anyway. I think he announced himself a little bit last week. He's been quietly under the radar, but last week against the Tigers, he had a monumental game. And he's averaging about 29 possessions and like 6-7 tackles, 8 clearances a game. That's all Australian form from 3 or 4 years ago for him. So to see him back to his best and injury-free is huge, and that's only going to assist us long-term when we get the likes of Paddy Dow, Hunter Clark, Zachy Jones back fully fit, rotating through the midfield to support him. Number 3, we're in every game. 12 points combined is the total margin for our losses this season. We are 2-3. We have a percentage of over 100, and we've lost 3 games. We're in every single game. Every game has been decided by, I think, under 18 points that we've played. So they're close, they're tight. It's not good for the heart, I'll tell you that. But it just means that we're in with the chance of winning every single game, which tells you that we rock up, and despite for portions of games where you think we're not trying, we do at some point click and we want to win the game. It's just a bit of an issue that we don't start games that well. So, the Geelong game was okay. Collingwood game, obviously, we started pretty slow in that game, actually, and then we got going. Richmond, we started really slow. Essendon, we came out of the blocks. And then the Giants yesterday, again, started very slow, conceded the first 3 goals of the game behind the 8 ball. But we keep fighting in games, despite being down. Geelong, we were down by over 20 twice. I think we came back, almost snatched it. Collingwood got out for a little bit, came back, we took over, we won the game. Essendon were out of the blocks. That's the opposite. Unfortunately, Richmond down for a fair bit, took over. GWS, no exception, down for quite a bit, and we almost snatched the game very late. So we're fighters. We're in every game, which bodes well long-term for the season, because I don't think we're playing anywhere near our best. But to be in every game and if things go away, to be potentially 4-1 or 5-0, if we had it clicked a bit earlier in games, that's pretty unreal to think, I think we've got a lot of scope to improve. Number 4, Shaman should never be on a wing again. He was lined up on the wing at the opening bounce yesterday, and I think within 15 seconds they had it on that side. He was not there, and they had to score through that point because there was no defensive pressure on that side of the wing. Once we reverted back to Ronnie Burns, Brad Hill and Darcy Wilson, it helped monumentally. They are pure wingers, and I know that Rossline wants to put Shaman on that wing because we're missing someone like Mason Wood who has height and can take a mark on that wing, and he's that chop out. But Shaman wasn't providing that anyway, and I think he's either better back or he's better forward. And to be honest, with the way that they were marking in the back line yesterday, I don't know if we actually put him back, but I would have done that, to be honest, because they were marking everything going inside 50. Which was a big problem and probably why we'll see Dougal Howard come back sooner rather than later. But Shaman is not a wingman. He is a utility, I get that, but I don't think he's a wingman. I think it slows our game down a little bit. I think you're relying too much on his marking game, and if he's not marking the ball and chopping out, once we're coming out of the defensive 50, or, manning up on the opposite and trying to get the ball back, I don't think he has much purpose on that wing. So I don't want to see him there ever again. And number 5, Hugo Garcia, take a bow. You were immense. We learned that you should be playing every week now. He looked a natural. 11 disposals, I think it was. 7 tackles, 3 clearances. He set up, I think, a score. The kid just looked natural. And in the heat of the moment, in a tough game against a very good midfield, you saw him lining up on some of their best midfielders. The fact that when he was brought on, it's only going to be a great learning sort of experience for him. And I think he set a record for like tackles or equaled Luke Dunstan's on debut, and that was in 2014, I think, in round 1. So credit to Hugo. I really hope he gets a full game on Thursday night against the Dogs. He fully deserves it. But nonetheless, he didn't do anything wrong. His left foot looked really, really good. I wish he took a shot when he went for the short, but he did the right option anyway. Team option, and it was a good kick. The player should have marked that. But apart from that, he looked hungry. He looked aggressive. And I think we need a bit of that in our midfield. And I think that'll rattle the Doggies because they're a bit more on the outside sort of midfield. So if we get a bit of Hugo, a bit of Owens in there with Steele, that's a lot of power, a lot of grunt work, and I don't think that's going to work well for the Dogs. I think the Dogs will hate that, to be honest. So Hugo, take a bow, mate. You look like a star in the making, but at the same time, we're not going to, let's not put too much pressure on the kid. That's one game, one half of football. Let's see him back it up in a full game on Thursday night and see how he goes. So those are my 5 things I learned, Saners. Thank you very much for watching. Put yours in the comments. Let me know. I'm sure there's many different ones because yesterday was just an absolute roller coaster, as is normal proceedings for a St Kilda game. But nonetheless, put your 5 things you learned in the comments, and I'll get back to you when I can. Until next time, take care, and as always, go you mighty Saners. See you guys.